So, good evening everyone. Welcome to Bajirao IAS Academy. We have been discussing important topics from science and technology, and these topics are important for your mains examination. And today we have some important topics. So, one by one, we'll try to discuss these topics in a very detailed manner. And artificial intelligence, we all knew that this is an emerging technology. And in fact, there were a number of questions which were asked and they centered around this theme, artificial intelligence. So therefore, we need to understand what exactly is artificial intelligence and what is its estimated potential. So we should also understand the potential of artificial intelligence because it has a lot of potential, right? So when we talk about the artificial intelligence as a technology, so it has a lot of potential in India as well, right? So it is going to substantially contribute for the growth of Indian economy as well. And because of this particular reason, a lot of questions are being asked from the artificial intelligence as well, right? So artificial intelligence with a specific focus on Indian economy. Now we'll try to understand what is artificial intelligence. Now understand, artificial intelligence is just part of a computer science. It is a branch of computer science, right? So without human interference, without human intervention, the computer science or the technology, it actually take decisions on its own, right? So how human beings takes decisions, right? So in a similar way, this technology can be used to take key decisions, and they also mimic human behavior, human functions, and that is what is artificial intelligence. So I hope it is very, very clear. So as of now, we have computers, we have a lot of digital devices, but those digital devices, they cannot take decisions on their own. Rather, so they are under the control of a human, right? So human beings give commands to those digital devices and accordingly they take decisions. But on the other hand, the artificial intelligence or any device which is guided by the artificial intelligence, so they can actually take decisions on their own without any human intervention. So that is what is called as artificial intelligence, right? So it is actually the ability of the machines to perform certain cognitive tasks. So here the machines perform these cognitive tasks. For example, like how human beings think about different things and how we perceive different things, how we start learning different things, and also we have that problem solving ability and even decision making as well, right? So therefore, any device which is powered by, which is guided by the artificial intelligence, so they behave like human beings when it comes to thinking, perceiving, learning, problem solving, and decision making, right? So going into the lecture, we will understand what exactly the potential of artificial intelligence. And first, we will understand there are different types of artificial intelligence, right? For example, one different type is weak artificial intelligence and another type of artificial intelligence is strong artificial intelligence. So we need to understand what is the basic difference between weak artificial intelligence and strong artificial intelligence. And in fact, this weak artificial intelligence, so it actually embodies a system, right? A system is being integrated with it, and that is designed to carry out one particular job, right? So it specifically performs one single task. For example, we very often see examples like Apple, Siri, Amazon's Alexa. So for example, if you ask anything from Alexa of Amazon, so they would provide you with that information. Like Siri also do the same purposes. So this is being done, and this type of an artificial intelligence is called as weak artificial intelligence. For example, you can ask Siri on your iPhone to set alarm for this particular time period, and you can also ask Siri to dial somebody, right? So Siri can actually do it on her own without any intervention. So you not even touch the mobile phone, but they actually do it on their own, and this type of an artificial intelligence is called as weak artificial intelligence. So the next type of artificial intelligence is strong artificial intelligence. And in fact, so a weak artificial intelligence, they just perform one specific task. But on the other hand, the strong artificial intelligence, it performs tasks similar to human beings. So whatever tasks that human beings perform, in a similar way, the strong artificial intelligence also behave. So that is the difference between weak artificial intelligence and strong artificial intelligence. So when I say the basic difference, the fundamental difference between the weak artificial intelligence and also the strong artificial intelligence. So remember, when you are asked what is artificial intelligence, so you are also expected to write the types of artificial intelligence as well, right? So type of artificial intelligence, in the sense that artificial intelligence is two different types. One is weak artificial intelligence and the other type is strong artificial intelligence, right? So in fact, so when I say strong artificial intelligence, so one example that you can mention is, as of now, self-driving cars are being introduced into the roads. So these self-driving cars are actually the example of the strong artificial intelligence. But on the other hand, the weak artificial intelligence examples are Amazon's Alexa and Apple's Siri. So that is the basic and fundamental difference between weak artificial intelligence and strong artificial intelligence. Now, we will understand the benefits of artificial intelligence, right? So we'll keep it in mind, the benefits of artificial intelligence to the Indian economy as well as the global economy as well. So why the entire world has been increasingly emphasizing on artificial intelligence? Because the artificial intelligence comes with certain advantages, certain benefits, and because of that reason, the entire world has started emphasizing on the artificial intelligence. Now you can see here, these are all the benefits of artificial intelligence. So no doubt that it enormously contributes to the global economy, and it also contributes to the Indian economy as well. So if we are able to integrate the artificial intelligence with our industry, with our agriculture sector, with our service sector, right? Because it has a lot of potential and it could substantially increase the global GDP as well as Indian GDP as well. So according to some estimates, the artificial intelligence is expected to increase global GDP by 14%, right? So that is the level of contribution, or that is the level of potential that artificial intelligence has. Remember one thing, that we are currently in the phase of fourth industrial revolution that we have recently discussed. Now, what is industrial revolution? The fourth industrial revolution. So this fourth industrial revolution will be primarily driven by technologies like artificial intelligence, technologies like robotics, Internet of Things, big data analytics, right? So those are the technologies will be integrated into the different sectors of the economy. So don't you think that how first industrial revolution, second industrial revolution, and third industrial revolution completely changed the landscape of economies across the world? Don't you think that integration of artificial intelligence will also completely change the dynamics, completely change the structure of the economy, and that would positively contribute for the global economy and the Indian economy as well, right? Because with the integration of technologies, generally what happens is that the resource usage efficiency can be achieved. So whatever resources we have, those resources can be much more efficiently and effectively utilized with the help of these technologies. And that's how technologies like artificial intelligence can substantially contribute to the rise of global economy and rise of Indian economy as well. And in fact, so it is also expected that the artificial intelligence, if Indian economy successfully integrates itself with artificial intelligence across different sectors, so that could potentially boost the annual growth rate as well. So, Niti Aayog has recently published a discussion paper on artificial intelligence. So, the discussion paper named Towards a Responsible Artificial Intelligence. And in this discussion paper, Niti Aayog specifically mentioned that there is a potential for a large-scale adoption of artificial intelligence, particularly with respect to Indian economy. So we have just discussed that the artificial intelligence can increase the global GDP by 15%. And don't you think that if we are able to integrate the artificial intelligence into the Indian economy, it can also substantially contribute to the Indian economy as well? Now, when you are writing answer, it is very, very important that you should mention such important aspects related to the artificial intelligence, and that's how you can actually score a very good marks in your answer. And similarly, I have just mentioned that artificial intelligence will save time, will save cost, will also help in enhanced resource usage efficiency. So because of all these different benefits that we have, if we adopt the artificial intelligence, and that would substantially contribute to increasing productivity, right? So there is also a broad consensus that everyone agrees that artificial intelligence in fact have a lot of benefits and a lot of advantages, because it could substantially increase productivity. By adopting artificial intelligence in production of goods and services, particularly integration of artificial intelligence into the industry, into the service sector, into the agriculture sector as well. So this is another aspect. Now, one thing that we should understand here, the problem, one problem that micro, small and medium enterprises in India have been facing is a lack of technology adoption. Lack of technology adoption is one problem that MSMEs have been facing, despite their huge contribution to the GDP, their contribution to the overall exports, and also their contribution to the employment in India, right? So if they have adopted technology, then it would result in efficiency. It would result in efficiency, and MSME goods that MSMEs produce, they become more competitive in the global markets or even domestic markets, and they can actually substantially reduce the cost of production, and they can also save a lot of energy, power. So because of all these advantages, the MSMEs would got if they have adopted the technology. And similarly, if we actually integrate artificial intelligence into our agriculture, our industry, service sector, so that also substantially increases productivity of these different sectors. So that thing we should understand. And apart from that, artificial intelligence is also expected to create a lot of employment opportunities, right? So it is generally perceived that artificial intelligence will lead to the job losses. So it is to some extent true, because when we adopt artificial intelligence, so it will result in structural change in the economy. So however, the structural change also require reskilling and upskilling of existing workforce, that the market demand, that the market requires. So if we are able to reskill and upskill our existing workforce, so that would result in creation of a gainful employment opportunities, right? So it would create gainful employment opportunities. So for example, I would say that a lot of tech startups are being started, right? Lot of tech startups are started, and these tech startups would provide gainful employment opportunities for the skilled workforce, right? So therefore, artificial intelligence is also having a lot of potential in terms of creating employment opportunities for the people. And similarly, it is also expected that artificial intelligence would result in more innovation or innovative climate that it will be created, right? Because a recent survey among US professionals, so this particular survey has revealed that almost 70% of the artificial intelligence is helping them to be faster, smarter, and more innovative. Now I would like to tell you one thing, that ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is powered by the artificial intelligence. So if you go to the ChatGPT and you ask anything from ChatGPT, so it gives you the information. For example, you are having a problem, you are facing problem finding content for the Indian agriculture sector, or finding out content for the space. So you just go to the ChatGPT and type whatever you wanted, and it actually organizes the content and it provides you the content, and it will become easier for to read the content, revise the content, and also present the very same content in your answers, right? So that is the advantage of the artificial intelligence. And don't you think that you will become more innovative and you will become more smarter, and you can also revise your notes much more faster? And that is the advantage of the artificial intelligence. And similarly, artificial intelligence is not just having benefits in all these different sectors that we have discussed, but it is also having its applications, or it is having advantages in the field of good governance, in the field of administration as well. So in the field of administration and governance also, artificial intelligence have a lot of potential. For example, the crop insurance scheme called Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. So this is a crop insurance program that aimed at farmers, right, who have been facing distressed conditions because of the crop failure. And if we use artificial intelligence for the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, particularly to identify the beneficiaries, eligible beneficiaries, to identify the crop losses, right? So this would result in much more efficient and effective implementation of such government schemes. So therefore, this is the advantage of the artificial intelligence in the field of administration. So however, in recent times, the government has undertaken a number of measures. So these measures specifically aimed at promoting artificial intelligence. So what are the measures that the government has taken? So we have just understood the benefits and the advantages of artificial intelligence. However, the government has taken other steps also. Because see, we know that artificial intelligence will benefit Indian economy. Artificial intelligence will also benefit in education, in healthcare, and also administration, governance, policy implementation, in all these number of areas. However, if we don't take any specific measures, any specific initiatives that aimed at integration of Indian economy with this emerging technology, so that will not give us a sustainable results. So therefore, in recent times, the central government has taken some initiatives, some steps. So those steps is specifically aimed at promoting artificial intelligence in Indian economy, right? So in the year 2020, the central government has increased the outlay for the Digital India program. So we all knew that the Union government has launched the Digital India program to make India a knowledge economy, and also a digitally empowered society. So this is the objective of the Digital India program that the government has launched. So we would like to make Indian economy a knowledge economy and also a digitally empowered society, and that's why this Digital India program has been launched. However, in the year 2020, the total financial outlay for the Digital India program has been raised to $477 million. right? So this specifically aimed to boost artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, big data, cybersecurity, machine learning, robotics. So all these technologies are part of what? They are part of the fourth industrial revolution. So for the success of fourth industrial revolution, it is very important that we need to integrate the different sectors of our economy. For example, the agriculture sector, industry, and service sector. So different sectors of our economy must be integrated with all these technologies, including the artificial intelligence, so that the real potential of the fourth industrial revolution or real potential of these different technologies can actually be explored by this, right? So this is the first step that the government has taken, that has been aimed at integration of Indian economy with all these different technologies. And similarly, Digital India program. So if we specifically talked about this Digital India program, so it aims to make internet more and more accessible, right? So in India, internet is more accessible now. Almost like more than 700 million people have access to internet, right? So internet is also less expensive in India, so thereby it is having applications in areas of e-governance, e-banking, e-education, and e-healthcare, right? For example, one important thing is telemedicine. Now what generally happens with telemedicine? For example, an individual who is facing any health problem and who is living in a remote area, so they can actually consult the top doctors in the metropolitan cities through the telemedicine. And during COVID-19 pandemic, what happened? During COVID-19 pandemic, all schools were closed. So e-education was a method through which the classes were actually delivered to the school children. And in fact, the judiciary has also started the e-courts project. So this also aimed at access to justice. So imagine that somebody is living in a remote rural area, they cannot approach the court physically. So this e-courts project is also one of the success, and that is driven by the programs like Digital India program, right? So technologies like UPI have made digital payments a revolution in India. So these are all the advantages and the benefits of integration of technologies like artificial intelligence into the economy. For example, now imagine that if you don't have access to data and you don't have UPI in your mobile phones, so you have to physically go to a bank branch for doing transactions, sending money, withdrawing money, doing all these things. So you need to physically go to a bank and you need to do all these different transactions. But you are sitting in your office, you are sitting in your home, and you are conveniently doing all these different transactions. Just a one single tap. And that is the advantage of integrating technologies into the different sectors, because they will benefit. And the second initiative was in 2019 Union Budget. Finance Minister, so she also announced that the government would offer industry relevant skill training for around 10 million youth. Right? So industry relevant skills specifically in the areas like artificial intelligence, big data, robotics, and Internet of Things. So all these different technologies, because see, when we wanted to adopt to these technologies, it is very important that we need to have a skilled workforce. Otherwise, it will not be possible. And it will also result in a complete structural change in the economy, the way economy operates. And that also requires a skilled workforce, right? So therefore, this is the other initiative that the government is ready to adopt all these different technologies. And in fact, recently Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics, CAIR, right? So this is a laboratory that has been established by the DRDO, right? So this particular laboratory aimed at research and development, right? So this focuses on research and development in the areas of artificial intelligence, in the area of internet things, big data analytics, cybersecurity, robotics, command and control, networking, information and communication. So this is like a research laboratory in all these different technology domains. So if we specifically talk about this, so these are some steps that the government has taken to promote the artificial intelligence or integrate Indian economy with all these different technologies. And recently, India has also launched India Artificial Intelligence Mission. So the Union Cabinet has recently approved the India Artificial Intelligence Mission. So the total budgetary outlay for this India Artificial Intelligence Mission is 10,371 crore. Right? So this is the total budgeted outlay of the India Artificial Intelligence Mission. Now, what are the aims of India Artificial Intelligence Mission? Because it is also having certain aims. So a mission aims to establish a comprehensive ecosystem. So there will be a comprehensive ecosystem catalyzing artificial intelligence and innovation through strategic programs, partnerships across public and private sectors. So public and private sector participation in the domain of artificial intelligence. And in fact, it will be implemented by India AI Independent Business Division under the Digital India Corporation. So it has some components such as India AI Compute Capacity. So this will build high-end scalable artificial intelligence computing ecosystem, and India AI Innovation Center to undertake development and deployment of indigenous large multimodal models. Right? So, you may even get a question on artificial intelligence. So India AI mission as well, right? So therefore, you have to fundamentally understand what is the artificial intelligence and how this is going to benefit the Indian economy as well. So here the definitions of different technologies have been given. Please go through all these different technologies: artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and generative artificial intelligence as well, because these definitions are also very, very important. However, now one thing that we should understand here, we have understood the advantages of artificial intelligence. So we have also discussed that artificial intelligence is having a lot of advantages, a lot of benefits. However, it also comes with a lot of disadvantages as well. And it is very important for us to understand those disadvantages. The first disadvantage or challenge is labor replacement. So labor replacement in the sense that yes, it can create gainful employment opportunities, but initially it will lead to the job losses. It will lead to the job losses, those who are not skilled. So if you look at the data on the total number of skilled workforce in India, it is less than 5% of India's workforce is formally skilled. So therefore, if we adopt technologies like artificial intelligence, if we integrate our economy with these technologies like artificial intelligence, so it will result in a complete structural change. It will result in what? So it will result in complete structural change into our economy, and that would result in job losses, right? Particularly those who are not adequately skilled. So for that, what we should do? We should focus on upskilling and reskilling of our workforce so that we can actually meet the demand of the market. We can actually meet the demand of the economy, when we can also address the needs of structurally changed economy, right? So artificial intelligence can automate the repetitive tasks and with the generative artificial intelligence. So imagine that you have been given a work. For example, you are preparing a content for something, but when you explain what type of a content that has to be prepared to the artificial intelligence, so it itself create a content, right? So it actually displaces the existing workforce, thereby it will create job loss, or it will result in job losses, right? So this is one main concern. And in fact, artificial intelligence bias, right? So biasness into the artificial intelligence, and that is also another major problem that we might face, because there are biases, white race or black race, or different biases. So artificial intelligence systems can perpetuate the existing biases present in training data, and it will lead to the discrimination against certain groups. So one example is this male female disparities or discrimination, right? So if artificial intelligence processes data, so it can understand that there is inherent inequality between these two genders, and it start discriminating them, right? So it is with respect to female, transgender communities, and also people of black color, right, or racism. So this is another major problem, so that is associated with the artificial intelligence and its adoption. And even there are also threats of social manipulation as well, because the artificial intelligence, so the algorithms which are actually powered by the artificial intelligence, so they can be used to spread misinformation. For example, if you go to YouTube, you can actually see Prime Minister Narendra Modi singing songs, and there are also a lot of fake images being uploaded on the social media with the help of artificial intelligence. Don't you think that artificial intelligence will lead to the social manipulation? And in recent times, crimes like digital arrest are also taking place. So they are actually using artificial intelligence to manipulate the individuals, right? So they are spreading misinformation, and they are creating fear in the minds of people, and they are also influencing the public opinion and manipulating the social behavior. So therefore, the artificial intelligence also comes with a lot of negative consequences as well. So this is another major problem that has to be dealt with. And similarly, it comes with several unintended consequences, right? So unintended consequences, because we have not properly understood the artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has a lot of potential, and it also has a potential for do negative things, right? So it is so complex that we have not yet understood, and it comes with a lot of unexpected consequences, right? So a disruptive nature of the artificial intelligence. When I say disruptive nature of artificial intelligence, so it is being expected that artificial intelligence can actually displace the middle class and the white collared jobs as well, because artificial intelligence specifically focuses on, or it requires skills, right? So it requires skills, and because of that reason, if economies are fully integrated with the artificial intelligence, it could also displace the white collar jobs people, it could also displace the middle classes as well, and it might create some kind of a social unrest as well. And multiple challenges which are actually associated with the artificial intelligence. For example, recently a technology called deep fake that is being circulated, right? So deep fake is a technology, and that is extensively used to morph the photos of celebrities, right? So artificial intelligence is not properly understood, it is so vast and it is so complex, and it actually poses number of challenges for the society, challenges for the economy, labor market, politics, data privacy, crime and warfare. So therefore, it is very difficult for a humankind to control technology like artificial intelligence. So therefore, we need to have strong regulations at the global level, and we should also have a global collaboration. So global collaboration that is much more efficient and effective in addressing all the challenges that we might face. And it is also considered contrary to the ethical philosophy, right? Because a Kantian ethics, so Immanuel Kant, who emphasized on deontological ethics. So deontological ethics, so he emphasizes on moral duty of an individual. So applying the Kantian ethics to use of artificial intelligence in decision making within governance could lead to the serious concerns as well. So these are some challenges which are actually associated with the artificial intelligence. So what should be the way forward? So the way forward should be like reskilling and upskilling of people. We have already discussed along with the challenges. We need to reskill and upskill our existing workforce, and there should be a strong global collaboration, global regulations at the domestic jurisdictions as well. And artificial intelligence is very often misused, and it also leads to social manipulation, influencing opinions of the people, changing the behaviors of the people. So therefore, there is a need for the domestic regulation as well. So there should be a comprehensive law, and that deals with the artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence need to be integrated with the curriculum of children. For example, recently Central Board of Secondary Education has announced that it is going to introduce artificial intelligence as an elective for students from classes 9 to 12. And similarly, stepping up cyber regulations. So there is a need to step up cyber regulations. So government would have to step up the cyber regulations with respect to new challenges posed by artificial intelligence. And there is also a need for the international collaboration. So there are multiple stakeholders, and it is very important for all the countries to collaborate, all these different stakeholders, for a meaningful regulation, for a meaningful collaboration in the field of artificial intelligence. So recently, the artificial intelligence session was held in France for the meaningful usage of artificial intelligence, and also reduce the negative consequences that are being associated with the artificial intelligence. Right. So now we'll understand a few important things with respect to blockchain technology. So this blockchain technology is also in use, and it is also a very important technology. So we will understand what exactly is blockchain technology, what are the benefits, what are the advantages of it, what are the challenges which are associated with the blockchain technology, and what is the potential of blockchain technology in countries like India, and any initiatives that have been launched by the government in the field of blockchain technology. So we are going to understand all these different phenomena. So first, let's try to understand what is blockchain technology, and it is also in use in recent times. See, understand, so you might have heard about the bitcoins. So Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is also called as the cryptocurrency. And in fact, currencies like Bitcoin, so they don't fall part of the legal jurisdiction of any country, because the central banks of any country have no jurisdiction on cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. Right? And in fact, these cryptocurrencies essentially work on a technology called blockchain technology. So they use this blockchain technology, and it will be very difficult to control such currencies or such cryptocurrencies which are primarily based on this blockchain technology. And that's why the government has been exploring the ways, exploring the possibilities to use this blockchain technology for the purpose of administration, for the purpose of governance. And in fact, we also have plans to launch central bank digital currency that is primarily driven by technologies like blockchain technology. So first of all, we'll try to understand what exactly is a blockchain technology. So there should be some clarity on blockchain technology, then only we'll proceed further. So in fact, blockchain technology is actually a structure, right? So this is actually a structure and that stores the transactional records, right? So it is having the transactional records. Right, so this is actually a structure, and in the structure the transactional records are stored, and this is also called as a block. This is also called as a block where all the transactional records are being stored, right? And in fact, this transactional records which are stored in a block, which is also called as a block, this information is stored in several databases, right? So it is being linked with the several databases, and that's why it is called as a chain, right? So it is a network, and that is connected with peer to peer, right? So that is connected with peer to peer nodes, right? For example, I am the sender of, I'm initiating a particular transaction, and on the other side there's a receiver of the transaction, right? So a sender and the receiver of the transaction. So this information can be seen by only these two individuals alone, right? So only these two individuals can see such information, right? So which is actually based on the blockchain technology. However, any other third party cannot actually control or cannot actually made any changes to such a technology, right? This is also called as this peer-to-peer nodes, and this storage of transactional records is also called as digital ledger, right? So this is also called with another name, that is digital ledger. So here every transaction in the ledger, so it is being authorized by a digital signature. So a digital signature has to be done, right? So it should be authorized by the digital signature of the owner, and then it authenticates the transaction and saves it from any tampering. So tampering is not possible with this blockchain technology, and that is one biggest advantage of this technology. And in fact, blockchain technology's key characteristic feature including decentralization, persistence, and also the anonymity. So this is the key characteristic feature of the blockchain technology, and that's why a lot of cryptocurrencies are actually based on this blockchain technology. And in fact, this blockchain technology discards the need for any third party or central authority for a peer-to-peer transactions, right? So it is having a lot of advantages, it is having a lot of applications, and that's why the world has been looking for the better usage of the blockchain technology. So here you can actually see the properties of blockchain technology. So it is having different properties. For example, so one property of blockchain technology, so it is a distributed ledger, because all trusted participants have a copy of ledger for the complete transparency. So it means it ensures transparency. It results in transparency in the transactions. And secondly, it is considered as immutable. So immutable in the sense that any validated records are irreversible and they cannot be changed. So therefore, you cannot do the forgery. You cannot manipulate the existing transactions, existing records. So therefore, it is irreversible and it is also immutable. And third advantage is that it is also time stamped, right? So thereby it provides more and more authenticity, more and more authentic transaction, because it is actually time stamped and it is based on the consensus, because whoever considered as a trusted participants, a copy of ledger will be available for them for the complete transparency, and all network participants agree to the validity of each other's records, and it is trusted because it is decentralized, and it can be managed by multiple participants in it, and it is very secured because all records are individually encrypted, and it will result in smart contracts as well. So it is also having a smart execution of digital contracts. So it is another ability. So this is another property of the blockchain technology. Now we'll understand the significance of blockchain technology. So what exactly is the significance of blockchain technology, right? So the significance is that it is a decentralized mechanism. So decentralized mechanism in the sense that one thing that you should understand, it is not under the control of any central authority. Central banks of different countries can also, they cannot control the blockchain technology. So thereby it actually eliminates the need for any third party validation of transactions. There is no need for any third party validation of transactions, and that's why it is called as a decentralized mechanism. And it will result in more transparency and more accountability and efficiency in the digital transactions as well, because the digital ledger is available to every participant in the network. So thereby it ensures transparency, as any asset value can be represented and it can also be tracked as well. And one very big advantage of blockchain technology, it can actually prevent the fraudulent transactions. It can also prevent any frauds, cyber security threats, cyber security vulnerabilities, or even cybercrime, because the data which is actually stored in several places and it is not easily accessible. So you cannot easily access the data that is stored in different places because it is decentralized. And in fact, blockchain technology has a business value. It also has the potential because it is expected that it can actually increase the global GDP by at least 10%, like how artificial intelligence has the potential to increase GDP by at least 15%. In a similar way, this artificial intelligence, blockchain technology can also increase global GDP by at least 10% by the year 2025. We are already in 2025, right? So applicability of this blockchain technology into different domains. For example, this blockchain technologies can actually find their applications. It is having important applications in diverse domains like education, governance, finance, banking, healthcare, cybersecurity, power sector. In all these different areas, blockchain technology has its key potential, right? So therefore, this is the significance of artificial intelligence. So you can also go through all these different advantages of blockchain technology, right? So blockchain technology is having applications in number of areas. So these are the advantages. For example, it eliminates the ability to cheat, it increases the transparency, it removes the intermediaries for fees, and there is no third party required when it comes to the blockchain based transactions. And it also increases the frequency and efficiency of trades and increases access for diverse populations and locations, right? So these are all a number of advantages of blockchain technology, and you can also find applications of blockchain technology, cryptocurrencies, particularly Bitcoin, which is based on this blockchain technology, creation of digital IDs, Internet of Things, online music or social media platforms, banking, law enforcement. So in all these different areas, blockchain technology has a number of applications, and that is the advantage of blockchain technology. So however, this blockchain technology comes with a lot of challenges as well, right? So it is not free from the challenges, right? So what are the challenges? So the first challenge is the scalability of blockchain technology, because so the blockchain technologies or blockchain networks can become slow as the number of users and transactions increase. So if load increases, blockchain based transactions speed can come down, right? So blockchain networks can become slow if number of users and number of transactions substantially increases. So thereby it will lead to the transaction delays and high fee as well. So therefore scalability is an issue here. So scalability in the sense that in future, if a number of people have they aware and they have knowledge about the blockchain technology, so blockchain technology can be used for the transactions because of its it is free from the fraud, and because of its advantages. So if number of people who are doing transactions using blockchain technology increases, so it can become slow, right? So it can become slow and transactions would be further delayed. So therefore this is a big disadvantage of the blockchain technology. Secondly, blockchain technology is also associated with the energy consumption as well. So remember one thing that in India, more than 50% of the energy is produced through thermal power plants. So thermal power plants use raw materials like coal, right? So when coal is burned, it releases harmful pollutants. It also releases greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. So thereby it will result in the global warming, and India will not be able to meet its commitments with respect to controlling the emissions. However, blockchain technologies actually consume a lot of energy, right? So POW based blockchains, particularly Bitcoins, actually require a vast amount of computing power, right? So you require a vast amount of computing power. So in order to generate that vast amount of computing power to validate the transactions, you need to consume a lot of energy, right? So consuming a lot of energy would result in what? So it would result in increasing demand for the energy, and thermal power plants would produce more energy, and that would result in global warming, and greenhouse gases concentration will also increase substantially. And in fact, when we use technologies like blockchain technology, so it requires a huge computing power. So it would also result in problems like e-waste generation. So excessive amounts of e-waste generation is also the major problem that is associated with these technologies. And next big disadvantage of blockchain technology is interoperability, because different blockchain networks, so they often have their own unique protocols, and they also have their own standards as well, right? So thereby it will be difficult for each of these different blockchain networks to communicate and interact with each other. So they cannot communicate and they cannot interact with each other. For example, cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and also Bitcoin, so they also backed by the blockchain technology. So both are backed by the blockchain technology. But the problem is that they are not compatible with each other. So interoperability is also another major problem that is associated with the blockchain technology. And in fact, concerns with respect to security and also privacy is another major concern, because there are concerns which are existing around the potential for privacy violations, due to the transparency of blockchain technologies and regulation and adoption. So regulatory uncertainty surrounding blockchain technology can actually hinder its adoption in various industries. So therefore, these are some challenges which are actually associated with the blockchain technology. So what should be the way forward? So there should be an appropriate way forward. So we have just understood the challenges of blockchain technology, but it is also having an appropriate way forward as well. Because when you are writing an answer, so you are also expected to write an appropriate way forward. So blockchain with all its possibilities needs a serious look at its vulnerabilities and also the commerciality, right? Because it is having the vulnerability and it is also having a lot of challenges. So therefore, with its all possibilities of a lot of potential in future, so it has to be looked into the vulnerabilities that are existing, and the scalability of this blockchain technology should also be looked into. And in fact, there are plans to introduce blockchain technology for public sector data handling system. However, before introducing blockchain technology for the public sector data handling, we need a robust and much more informative data repository. And we need to link India chain with Aadhaar. Thus, we should create a secure personal identity for all Indians. So we need to create a secure personal identity for all Indians, and proper regulations for the use of blockchain technology in the country. And there is a need for the global collaboration for the regulation of blockchain technology, and at the same time at the domestic or national jurisdictions as well. So we need to have a regulations, and there are multiple stakeholders, and there is a need for consensus, there is a need for collaboration with all these different stakeholders for the successful introduction and implementation of the technologies which are based on artificial intelligence. And there are certain key issues which are identified with the blockchain technology, and that would further create a lot of challenges in the implementation of artificial intelligence. So one issue is data privacy. So when we are developing the blockchain technology, so we should give priority to the data privacy, right? And India should effectively channel its technical human capital surplus to position itself as one of the pioneers during this upcoming wave of innovation. So this you can write in your conclusion as a question if it is asked about the blockchain technology and its potential in India, right? So anyway, that's all in this lecture, and thank you so much for being with us. So if you like our lecture, please subscribe our YouTube channel and also hit the like button. Thank you.